Hi, my name is Sindoni. Thank you for tuning into the broadcast of the Dr. Thiel mystery. They came, they photographed, and they were murdered. In today's program, I will put the spotlight on what I believe is an unsolved murder mystery surrounding geologist Dr. Edward Thiel. But before I share my discoveries with you, the viewer, I would like to provide some relatively unknown facts surrounding the unknown continent of Antarctica. Our mystery today centers around the Trans-Antarctica mountain range. The Trans-Antarctic Mountains were first seen by Captain James Ross in 1841 from the Ross Sea. The range is a natural barrier that must be crossed to reach to the South Pole from the Ross Ice Shelf. In 1908, while not making it to the South Pole, Ernest Shackleton's party was the first to cross the mountains using the Beardmore Glacier. And then 3 years later, Robert Scott returned to the Beardmore Glacier in 1911 with Roald Amundsen crossing the range via the Axel Heiberg Glacier. Much of the range remained unexplored until the late 1940s and 1950s, when missions such as Operation High Jump and the International Geophysical Year made extensive use of aerial photography and concentrated on a thorough investigation of the entire continent. The name Trans-Antarctic Mountains were recommended in 1962 by the United States ACAN Committee, a United States authority for geographic names. The Trans-Antarctic Mountains are considerably older than other mountain ranges of the continent that are mainly volcanic in origin. The Trans-Antarctic Range was uplifted during the openings of the West Antarctic Rift to the east beginning about 65 million years ago in the early Cenozoic period. The photo you are viewing now is of geologist Edward Thiel, who is reducing data using the Freedom calculator inside the science building at Ellsworth Station. Ellsworth Station was one of 7 United States research stations constructed for the International Geophysical Year, IGY, of 1957 to 1958. And here is where the plot thickens. Edward Thiel was killed during a later scientific expedition when the P-2V airplane he was a passenger in crashed at Wilkes Station, Antarctica in November of 1961. From 1957 to 1961, Edward Thiel and his group extensively photographed the Trans-Antarctic mountain range. And it was because of Mr. Thiel's discoveries in the Trans-Antarctic mountain range that he lost his life. In December of 1959, Edward Thiel airlifted geophysical observations along the 88th meridian west, including work near these mountains. Thiel perished with 4 others in the crash of a P-2V Neptune aircraft soon after takeoff from Wilkes Station on November 9, 1961. Could Wilkes Station be the smoking gun which could provide evidence for the crash for Edward Thiel and his group? Wilkes Station was originally built in 1957. By 1964, the buildings had become a fire hazard due to fuel seepage, and the station was becoming buried by snow and ice. And the current status of Wilkes Station, it is now almost permanently frozen in ice and is only occasionally revealed during a big thaw every 4 or 5 years. And many objects remain embedded in the ice, and visitors are often able to see the remains of the station through the ice. What remains at Wilkes Station are a number of barracks buildings known as Clements Huts and the remnants of the semi-cylindrical canvas store buildings known as Jamesway Huts. There is also a series of storage dumps and a considerable amount of rubbish resulting from the 12 years of occupation, including approximately 7,000 fuel and oil drums. And then there's the additional rubbish on the official story, the official version of Edward Thiel's plane going down. It is my belief that Edward Thiel and his men were killed because he and his men were all aware of the openings into the hollow earth. They came, then they photographed, and then they were murdered. And in closing, I would like to thank everyone for watching the Dr. Edward Thiel mystery.